What's going on, boys? This is my 2x2 clan base expansion for vanilla or lightly modded servers. I hope you enjoy. This might be the first base build I've done on my channel, but I promise this is not an easy one. Let's start off with a tour of the base. I'm warning you now, guys, it's not a cheap base, but it's well worth it. The base has 4 externals total, and each external is anti-sieged. There are 4 gatehouses to enter the compound. Each gatehouse has patricos watching each high wall. There are 4 compound turrets total, each of them set up as a little pod with at least 1 fence watching them. The compound has a very tight furnace wall, as you can see here. There are a total of 4 compound bedrooms, meaning 8 beds in the compound. You can also put boxes above, and behind the locker, there's a battery. Hey, what's up, guys? I actually forgot to show this off during the tour, but this base comes with a shield wall. It's pretty hidden. It's hidden enough to where I didn't even show it in the tour, so here's a quick little tour of the shield wall. I know it's kind of ghetto, but I never intended for this. It's just something I found out I could do after I had it built. This is a ring that goes around the whole first level. If you wanted, you could swap out one of those lockers for a battery and just remove the battery in the compound if you wanted to. This low wall is extremely important to the space. It's what connects all of this to the main TC priv. It's basically the heart of the anti-siege. If an external was broken, you'd have to break the low wall to replace that external, and only upgrade it to wood. That was one of the 2 entrances into the core, and that is also one of the 2 chutes that goes up to the 3rd and 5th floor. In total, there are 2 entrances into the ring and 2 chutes to quickly go up and down the base. You don't have to do it, but the barrels in between the foundations really help with mobility, and they are also really great depot boxes. Now entering the 2x2, there'll be a depot box on the floor and a furnace jump up. Jumping up here, there'll be a windowed loot room and a locker on your left. On the 2nd floor, there's a standard loot room and 2 windowed furnace rooms. Everything I show you on one side of the base is going to be the same on the other side. Getting to the drop down to core, it's actually bunkered. I have a workbench on the jump up to save space in the core, and the other deployables you see are as you see fit. Don't question the jungle shelves. I got bored one day. This is how you do the bunker, and also you don't have to do the oil refinery, but I really recommend it. It's really nice. Here's the main upkeep. As I said before, she's a chunky girl, but if you can get her going, I promise it's worth it. Coming up to the third floor, we have one-way ankle biters that look into the open core. And behind the garage door are 2 beds and a chute for easy raid defense. These ankle biters are set up so you can use them both crouching and standing. You can crouch on that jungle shelf. Getting up to the 4th floor, we have another windowed loot room. Also on top, it's a bedroom, a locker, and then we get into the open core here. This floor holds 32 boxes in total. As I said earlier, everything on one side is the same on the other. Getting up to the 5th floor, we have boxes on our right, which act as a pancake layer. Behind this door, we have a respawn point and a retake for the shooting floor, and also our chute. This area is a little confusing for the newer people on my team, but I promise it's easy. So straight across from where we just entered, it's going to be the other way down. When you enter in here, the doors to your left and to your right are going to be to the shooting floor. Straight ahead is another shooting floor respawn and retake. And behind both of these garage doors is the shooting floor. That turret is floating on 2 triangle frames. It is watching the roof, and it also watches the shooting floor as well. You can also use the gaps in the walls and this frame here as peaks. Put shutters on the windows so nobody can see in. There's a triangle planter box there to block the headshot angle from tall raid bases, so you can look down at the ground. Here's what the shooting floor retake looks like when there are no doors. Before we get up to the roof, I'm going to show the peek downs that watch the ring. Alright, now it's time to show off the roof. I know it might be a little crazy, but there are 8 turrets that watch the roof, though 4 of them do also watch the shooting floor. Again, these windows are protected by triangle planar boxes. I actually recommend making these ones protected by horizontal embrasures instead of shutters. Getting into these pteropods. They are actually bedrooms as well, which are perfect for raid defense and if you have a roof camper teammate. I'm going to show off some forbidden angles on the base now. It's a bit hard to slide up to, but when you do, you get a perfect view of the front door of your TC. These other angles aren't as good if you have the triangle planar box there, but they are still worth mentioning either way. And every angle I show on this side of the base is the same on all 3 other sides of the base. That's it for the tour. Time to get into the build. To start this off, if you want to do the oil refinery and core, you want to place it so that that support is just barely touching the ground. You could start this base in a 1x2 if you wanted to, but I just bring it to the point right before the oil refinery. I'm going to be upgrading everything to the final grade, but obviously you will be upgrading it to stone or wood or whatever you have at that time. This is what your starter should look like with no deployables, and this is what it will look like with deployables. Obviously, you don't have to copy my deployable placement 1 for 1, but this is just more of an example. If you are doing the oil refinery, then you will need to get rid of that square in the middle, but if not, then you can just leave it, that's fine. Once you get the jump hook built, you'll be able to use the bunker to protect the base offline or during the raid. It's not a big deal, but if you want the bottom boxes in open core to be easier to reach, then you're going to want to do this. But you'll be able to reach them either way, but this just makes them easier. You also need to do this before you place the boxes under it, because the boxes will block the placement of the ramp. I don't show it, but I do end up putting the ramps down in a little bit. As I said earlier, you do not have to though. At this point, we're getting ready to wall in the second floor and finish the honeycombing. Build this honeycombing up to the second floor. these are where your furnaces are going to be, so don't wall them in just yet until you have the furnaces down. This is exactly how I would leave it until I get furnaces inside, and usually I do one set of normal furnaces and one set of electric furnaces. This is how I do the deployables. Obviously use double doors if you don't have garage doors. I would place the workbench on the jump up to save space in the core. And I forgot to place it, but you can place the oil refinery underneath the jump up at any time whenever you have it. If you don't have an oil refinery, you can just place boxes there or something for extra loot space. Quickly run around back and just throw the honeycombing up to the second floor. You can just use a half wall as a jump up for the time being. Next, we're going to start the jump ups and the wide gap. You can build out this triangle to make an airlock into the second floor. Place the other walls as I do. Don't upgrade that triangle, just use that as a jump up temporarily. Next, we're doing an 8 square build out and then capping it with a triangle foundation and deleting all the squares and building back with all triangles. And then at the end, we're going to cap that end with a square. Keep the square in the first triangle and then delete the next 3. And then build the circle with the 2 triangles on the end. And then upgrade them as follows. And it should look like this once you're done. This is going to be the chute and also part of the ring. Once you have this complete, you can use this as extra storage and also as a jump up to the second floor. Make sure you put a double door on the jump up to the roof so no one can go deep on you. This is an example of what the deployable should look like. Do the same exact thing we just did. If you need to, you can rewatch the last clip. Alright, the next thing you want to do is do the same exact build out on the other two sides that haven't had it yet. But do not go up past the foundations, just put the foundations down. You will see what I mean in a second. All of this will be decaying for now, but it'll be okay because we will get that on a TC soon. As you can see, it's the same exact build, but we don't have anything built on the foundations. Make sure you have them flat. If you build up on the foundations, you will break it. You'll break the base and you will not be able to do the next build. This is an example of what I mean. If you build up on the foundation at all, you will not be able to place this foundation here. The next step is to freehand off this corner. If you don't know how to freehand, I will leave the video that I learned from in the description. You're looking for that frame to be able to connect right there and hang. When that frame is doing that, you know you've done everything right. So you can upgrade everything that I did. If you don't place these foundations now, the base will block it later. So it is really important to place these now. All of this is going to be decaying for now, but it's okay because we will fix that soon. All three of the other sides need the same exact build out, so I'm gonna skip past that now. We're now going to do the externals and the gatehouses. If you wanted, you could do the externals before the freehands. It's just up to you. I personally like doing the freehands first, but the externals would probably be the safer option to do first. You can set up your external however you like. This is just the easiest disconnectable external for this base that is also anti-siege. Next, I'm going to show you how to do the gatehouse. The gatehouse has a 100% visibility if you have a door skin with like a window on it or something that you can see through. So this is what it should look like when it's done, and that's just an example of it disconnecting. Here are all the deployables. If you place these two triangles early, they will block you from being able to do the freehand, so they have to be placed after the freehand. This shouldn't be decaying anymore. This should be all upkept by the external now. This is now all upkept by the external. The only thing that should be decaying are the freehands, and after this, that is what we will be doing. That should be easy enough, so I'm gonna skip past these other ones. This is going to end up being the front door, so you can wall this in. And then do the same on the opposite side. Put roofs on all 3 of those triangles. Don't forget 2 of those are chutes, so do not block up the chute. Do this to seal the ring on the first floor. Place these 2 walls and then connect them to the main base with a low wall, and then upgrade it to wood. Do not upgrade it past wood. This is going to be for your anti-siege, so you might need to break this out at some point. These foundations currently are not being upkept by the main, so you need to put a frame on this one so that it connects it. And then these set of foundations are going to be turned into the compound bedroom, and that is what connects them. All this stuff out here is being upkept by the main TC now. Once you have everything connected, this essentially activates the anti-siege. Place these 2 triangle floors just as jump ups, don't upgrade them. Make sure you place the boxes in here before you place the floors above. You might need to upgrade these roofs to shipping container for the bed placements. These are the deployables, and obviously there's a battery behind the locker there. The battery is easy. You can just place the battery as far back as possible and then place the locker in front of it. Make sure you place that triangle foundation like I did the first one, not the second one, because that's important for the large furnace placement. Alright, repeat what we just did 3 more times. Alright, it's time for the wall placement. To do it right, you want to leave a little bit of space on the left and the right, just like this, and then you'll be able to place the large furnace perfectly every time. It's the same for this side as well. Alright, let's skip all these other wall placements. The large furnace is pretty easy. Make sure you do not upgrade that triangle. We will be deleting that later. it should just slot into place just like this. Make sure you're able to build 2 frames off that triangle. And if you are, upgrade the bottom one and then delete the triangle. And then place this as a jump up. And then do the same thing on the other side. Once you have all that, you can place the windows in the middle here with the frames. The frames are for the siege wall. You do not need the roofs, I just do them for aesthetic purposes. If you want to be able to siege wall off the back of the gatehouse, then follow this tutorial. If not, then just do it however you feel is best. Put these walls on the back, just in case. If you don't have a large furnace, they will simulate a large furnace so that you can still place the walls and place the large furnace perfectly fine. You want to place that middle one directly in the middle, like basically on the line. You want to line yourself up pretty much exactly how I did, so that that wall is just barely off the corner, and then you want the corner of that barricade to be falling off a little bit. And then line yourself exactly up like this, where that twig wall meets that frame right there. And then flip your barricade so that the small end is on the corner of the wall there. Right where I'm aiming. Right there. You want the corner of the barricade to be like right there. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Just like that. And then you'll be able to place the walls behind it just fine. And if you don't have a large furnace yet, you'll be able to place the large furnace just fine too. Everything works just fine. Just like that. Next up is this gatehouse. This one's easy. This one's just a 2 barricade seal. I put it a little bit too far forward. If you were on a real server, you'd pull it back a tiny bit, but I'm still able to place it just fine. The barricades can be a bit of a pain sometimes, so I would definitely practice those in a build server if you plan on building this. But the furnaces can be pretty easy, honestly, if you place the walls right. So let's place all the furnaces and barricades quick. These are all the siege wall placements that you can do. I already showed this off in the tour, but I'm showing it off again here as I'm building it. Alright, we're about ready to start building the open core here. But first, we want to build up the rest of the ring so that we can seal it. We're going to start building this up to the level of the rest of the base. But before we do that, we have to make sure that these 2 triangles here are upgraded to sheet metal, because they are honeycomb and we will never be able to do it if we wall it in now. So make sure you upgrade that to sheet metal before you do this. These have to be half holes here for one of the peaks on the shooting floor. We're going to build the rest of this up to the 2nd story also, getting ready for the open core, because if we don't do it now, it'll be a pain in the ass to build up after we get the open core done. We're going to just do this on every side of the base, make sure it's the same height. as the base is right now. You need to build these frames up for the shooting floor peak. This is all just honeycombing right now. Don't upgrade that to armor, that was an accident. This is going to be the door peak on the shooting floor, but for now, we just build it up as honeycomb. Now that we did this one side, we got to do the same thing to the other side. At this point, if we haven't done it already, we can go down to the ring and start filling in the ring. We're going to put 2 lockers here. If you want, you can switch out one of the lockers for a battery. If you don't want to put the battery in the compound, or if you just want a second battery. And then after you have the locker placed, or the battery, you can wall it in. And then just put whatever either double or garage door you have. I'm just filling it with garage doors, but you can fill it with whatever you have at the time. Early wipe, you can do double doors, but late wipe, I would definitely switch it to garage doors. It makes the flow of the base a lot easier. You can also put these barrels here. They're really nice depot boxes, and they also work well for mobility. We're basically going to work around the base and build everything up one layer on the outside. Just follow as I do. I start with the freehand here, but you could easily just start with the wide gap. All we're doing is we're upgrading the freehand and the wide gap. You'll see here at the end. I move to the wide gap now. Basically all we're doing is we're just building ourselves into a bowl here. At the end of it, it should look just like this. And then we're going to want to repeat the same thing on the other side. And it'll look just like this at the end. It'll have 2 pathways right where the chutes are. And then we're just going to build the chutes up and wall ourselves in pretty much. So start at the chute, just build yourself up so that no one can really see what you're doing in case anyone's watching. So they don't know where your open core is. Once you do that, you basically just wall the rest of it in. You should leave yourself basically with just a 2x2 and honeycomb. That's it. Next, we're making the open core, so follow this carefully. This is really important. Currently, we're setting up the one-way peaks. That's why we raised it a floor. Everything there gets upgraded, and then you place windows on the side. These are going to be windowed loot rooms, or you could make them furnaces if you want. It's really up to you. There's also a layer of pancake above, so that's why we're building it up an extra floor. It's a layer of pancake and then a loot room also. Make sure you give yourself a jump up. And then if you do not do the double window, it will not be a one-way. So you have to do the double window with the floor. It makes it a one-way. And then you can put a box under the floor also. I usually just put like a box with seal mats or something is what I do. This is going to be a loot room on the bottom, and then the retake into the shooting floor above it. Make sure you do not place a triangle there, because we still have to go up another floor. This is going to be the pancake and then extra loot area. You don't have to do the ramps, but if you want to, you easily can. There will be ramps placed above them also, so make sure you do not place boxes in them until you have the ramps placed after. Just repeating the same thing we did on the other side. Alright, let's get all the deployables placed in here. Make sure you don't place those windows until you have those barrels placed in there. This floor can hold up to 30 boxes, maybe even more if you really wanted to push it. This is the respawn and the retake area again. And the chute, make sure you build that up with the ladders because that's very important. And make sure you do it on the other side too. It should look exactly the same. Make sure you put a window there in case raiders get in there, so they can't use it against you. Next up is we got to build all this up to our level. I'm building up one of the other two shooting floor retakes and bedrooms. Make sure you build the freehands up also. That's what the freehand should look like when it's done, and then we're going to build up the side with the chute. It's basically the same thing as the other side, except we're just putting a door on it and not honeycombing it. And then now we're just going to do that to the other sides. You can fill them out with beds and then put your embrasures on it. Make sure you don't wall in the chute and make sure you put ladders up. After this, we're going to make the jump up safe. You can place ramps there if you want. I forgot to do it, but end up doing it later. And each one of those has to be a door and a window. You don't want two doors like I did there by accident. I come back and I delete it later. It needs to be a door and a window. You won't be able to place that ramp if you place those boxes there, so if you place those boxes, make sure you delete them. They'll also be hard to upgrade if you wait, so I'd make sure you upgrade them before you place the low wall. Once you get all this done, we can get the deployables placed and get it secure up here. This is what it should look like. It's a little confusing, but it's pretty easy once you figure it out. This door and the one behind me are both the shooting floor doors. This is how you want to lay out the peek downs into the ring. Everything else here is pretty basic. I don't really think I need to talk through it, so I'll just let you guys watch. The only thing you need to take note of is you have to place the frames in those 4 spots. Do not place them in any other spots or you can break the anti-siege. That's what it should look like with all its deployables, and then you just want to make sure that you place the floors on the outside. I'm not really sure why that turret broke, but you can just replace it easily. And then this is just simple. This is literally, you put 3 doors and then you just honeycomb the back and then roof it. I'm going to skip past all these other ones, but you can always go back and watch them if you need to. You don't have to do this. This is for the triangle planter box on the roof, but if you want that extra protection, follow this tutorial. It's pretty easy. Just make sure you do it before you put up anything else in the roof, because then it'll make it a lot harder. And then just go around and do that on all the other sides. Next, we're going to add windows here and all the roofs. This is very easy. This is really straightforward and simple. Time to place all the deployables. I recommend doing the triangle planter box, but you always don't have to. It's your choice. Next up is the rest of them. This should be pretty easy. They're all straightforward. I would only put Sam's on 3 of them, but I just put them on all 4 as an example. You can just choose which 3 would be best for you based on your location on the map. This turret pod is also pretty easy. Just follow how I do it. It's not that hard. Don't upgrade the triangle roof until you have the turret down, because you can use it to place it like I'm doing now. Once you have the turret placed, you can place the ramp. Also make sure you place the chain link fence before the beds, because sometimes the beds can cause issues with that, so you might have to pick them up. Once you have that done, you can run up and you can place the windmill. It's super easy. You don't have to do any build-ups. You can literally just place it right up top there, and it gives you enough power for the whole base. Now that this turret pod is done, we can go finish the other 3. Just that easy. I usually make this ring around this square here, the mixing table area. But if you place the freehands a little bit too low, then you'll get an issue like this where it'll say it's not stable enough. So if you have that issue, then just use repair benches because they're smaller. And then put the mixing table in front of the door, and then put the repair bench in front of the windows like I'm doing. This is what the peaks look like. This is what I was saying earlier. You should put the mixing table in front of the door because it kind of hides it a bit better. And then the repair bench in front of the in front of the window. Thank you boys for sticking through to the end. This is my first build video, so I hope it made sense. I hope you guys enjoyed the build, and I hope she treats you well.